Wilson Morales from Black Film and TV talking to Marshawn Davis, one of the actors, lead actors in the new play, Ain't No Mo. How's it going?
It's going well.
Now, this play is now playing on Broadway, where it came from the Public Theater. How excited are you that you're back on stage?
I mean, I love this play. I love Jordan Cooper, and it's exciting to be able to bring this play to larger audiences. Uh,
Now, go ahead.
oh no, 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 no.
I was gonna say, okay, so for those who don't understand, because Ain't No Mo is such a broad title, what does that mean?
Ain't No Mo asks Jordan Cooper, the playwright, and the play asks the question, what if black citizens sorry, what if black citizens were giving a one-way flight back to Africa? Through a series of vignettes, we see how people wrestle with that decision, whether to go, not to go, what to take with them, what it means to be here, what it means to be there, whether there is even a possibility. So yeah, yeah, that's what the
Now, you play one of several characters. Can you describe them?
five, six, five of them. Sure. At the top of the play, and Jordan has done a beautiful thing is that he's sort of it's like plays within a play. So at the top, and it's all linked together through this premise that the U.S. has given citizens this choice. We start the play in 2008, November 4th, 2008, on the day Obama was elected, and I get to kick off the play as this Pastor Freeman, who you know, when Obama was elected, I think there was this excitement that as black citizens, like things would change in a way that like we had never seen it before. Only to realize like 8 years would ensue and then Black Lives Matter would come into full force because before Obama's presidency, Black Lives Matter didn't exist.
Mhm.
Um, and so the play starts off with Pastor Freeman and the sermon, and then we head into this clinic, abortion clinic, where I play Damien, and Damien is fighting to stop Trisha, his wife, from aborting their child. And then we head to the Real Baby Mamas of the South Side reunion special, which is a bit of a spoof on a lot of the Bravo TV shows that you've seen, Real Housewives. And I play the host, Tony. Um, and then we hop on to a scene called Green, where I play Jonathan, who is a Nigerian American, and is given this information about going back and is totally against it because, well, his family worked so hard to come here, so why would he go back? And finally, I play the prison clerk who is letting out the final prisoners of the final prisoners who are going to take this flight.
Is there a big transition from the Public Theater to Broadway? Anything change? Obviously, there's a productionness of it, but did characters change or anything else, or is it the same?
Well, time. When time passes as an actor, you start to get more lived experience. I feel like Viola and Meryl, when they first started, in comparison to Viola and Meryl now, are two are different folks. And so I feel like what we were graced with was the pandemic. We were graced with time, and in that time, it's like I just kept growing and learning and changing. And so part of I think what's been so beautiful about revisiting this show is that I'm a different human than when I first touched it. And it's exciting to bring all those experiences from the last 2, 3 years now back in.
Mhm.
Um, of course, production elements have changed. I think for the most part, characters are still this same. I think Jordan, there were things he cut during the Publix production that he brought back for this production, which was kind of exciting. Um, yeah, but for the most part, for me, it's I think a lot of life has happened in between when we first did the show and now. So um, the biggest thing that's changed is me as a human, which I just bring a different lived experience to what we get to do on stage.
That's what I was gonna bring in. Like obviously when you make that transition from the public to Broadway and there's a time in between that, how have you grown as an actor, in playing this role, from before to now? It does it give you a different feeling because you're a different person based on the time frame that took to before hit Broadway?
Yeah, this is the first time in which I have had this much time revisiting a project. You know what I mean? I've never like done a show and then 2 years later came back to revisit it. And so, um, yeah, the things that have changed, well, one, physically I've changed since when I first did it. Um, uh, mentally I've changed because I think that I'm a more lived in myself, and I'm not. I think I think I'm now different than when we first did it, more because the play asks a lot of the performer. Um, and I think that my approach now has been so much different than my approach then. Because my approach then, when we were working on the play and rehearsing it, was okay, give me a second. I'm going to go back into my own space, figure this out, and then bring it into the room. Where now it's like, I just put it out there in a way that, like, I put it out and stick it out. I put it out and leave it out. And it's just a abandon in which I think I don't know if I really had. I think I had the tools to do the thing, but I think there was a lot of sort of, oh, I have to be a certain way, and I have to. There's a lot of judgment around how I wanted to present the thing, as opposed to just like going for it. And I think the beautiful thing about having a chance to revisit it is that I got to like play and really just take a sledgehammer and just like start beating around and see what I could find. And the results for me have just been joyous. I never thought I could come back to this play and find more than I found the last time. And I knew that if I was going to come back to this play, I had to like, there had to be new things that I was going to explore with each character, whether that be physicality, whether that be voice, whether that be point of view. There was a new thing I knew I had to explore, whether that be like backstory. Like for my clerk at the end, I was like, I want people to leave and be like, this Clark is a real person. Like, and I'm sure they left last time filming that, but I was like, what else can I do? I was just looking for ways. And I was like, oh, this Clark probably, he's not going on this flight. Probably had a cigarette in the back. He's gonna pop in some gum, run, do this thing, go to lunch. You know what I mean? Like that is his day. And this is just a cog in his machine. So I think this time I was able to bring even more slices of life.
How's working with this ensemble? It's a cast. Obviously, some of them have come in from from the theater. I mean, from the public to now. So it's you're spending a lot of time. Like has the chemistry grown? In terms of like knowing each other as opposed to like, okay, we're doing a job. You go your way, I go my way. But is it a family now?
It is a family. I think, if I'm being honest, it's changed slightly because we're in a different space, right? At the public, most of us were sharing dressing rooms together. Like I shared a dressing room with Jordan. In this theater, Jordan on the first floor, I'm on the third floor, And so like literally logistically it's changed, but we're still a family. We still check in on each other. We still sort of brainstorm together. We still have a very open dialogue. And I don't know if you know this, but one of the young ladies, Fedna Jaquette, who plays Passenger 2, I believe, or Passenger 1, I'm Passenger 2. Me and her actually went to NYU grad acting together, along with Crystal Lucas Perry, who plays Passenger 5. I might be wrong about the numbers. I'd be forgetting sometimes. And we all, me, Fedna, Crystal, and Ebony, and Jordan, of course, did it at the public. And so there's just like there's like a secondhand sort of speak, you know what I mean? With all of us. Even when we get frustrated with each other, people are like, oh, that's how y'all talk to each other? But it's like, I was at Fedna's wedding. Like we're like family. Before this production. Um, and so it's rare that you get to do, and Stevie Walker Webb, the director, and PJ Johnny, the assistant director, who has become a part of the family. It's rare that you, and Shannon Mateski, it's rare that you get to do a show with people that like you have so much history with, um, especially this early in your career, you know. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, it's a family. And sometimes we fight like a family too.
How is it? And then you have Lee Daniels, producer. Obviously the world knows Lee from what he's done on TV and film, and now he's entering the Broadway world. Uh, have you seen him? In his dynamics. As far as you being an actor, and hopefully maybe he'll work with you again in one of his other projects. How does that work when you have a producer, on set, as opposed to you're working like you said, the rest of everybody else is family. But now you have a guy on there who you now you're getting to know.
Yeah, it's just like you said, you're getting to know them. Like there's no, we all human. Like me and you are sitting here getting to know each other. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm blessed that we got the opportunity. You know, we're both Philly boys. There's a point on one of the Zoom meetings. He was like, I was coming back from Philly. I was like, yeah, just in Philly. He was like, wait, you from Philly? I said, no, Philly, Nice Town. He was like, I'm doing a TV show about Nice Town. I was like, wait, what? So it's funny because it's yeah, you start to you just get to know each other, and it's a fun, exciting thing. And he is a producer, so we don't get to see him every day, but
Mm-hmm.
he also was there at the public, so it's he was around at the public when we were doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So we've uh Lee is a part of the family as much as Fedna and Crystal, and yeah, I mean he brought everybody to the cookout. So we're
Yeah. So, um, I've seen your work obviously on film as well, and so between Broadway, theater, and film, what goes into saying yes to the projects you take? What tickles your fancy? Obviously, we all want to get work, we all want to get paid, but as actors, you want to be choosy as far as what you do. So, what goes into taking on projects?
um I call it the three P's: people, play, pay. Um, Early in your career, you probably want to focus on two of the P's: people, play. Um, I think I'm moving into that stage and where I'm feeling pay is a necessary thought just because you
Post pandemic, pays important. Pays
hey,
important. I was just seeing the news just now, talking about how eggs are going up.
yeah, so like but people play pay. That's my sort of rubrics on how I decide to take projects. And if I don't have two out of three of those things, then nine times out of ten I'm not going to do it. And
Mhm.
I've said no to doing Broadway shows before, said no to doing film projects before. It and I think in that you realize when you say no, you're saying yes to something else, and you also realize what you want to say yes to. You know what I mean? So I feel like there's power in no. I mean, it all varies depending on the project, how I weigh it. You know what I mean? And what for me, this project was people and play.
Mhm.
Um, yeah.
But I was gonna say, before I let you go, obviously when you do a play where you're playing five characters, 7, 8 times a week, and eventually at some point you're gonna go on to do another project. Does this help you out as an actor, your skill set? So when you think about going on your next audition, having played five characters in one show as opposed to one character, you know, does it give you a sense of awareness? Like, I won't say you can knock it out of the park because I just did five, you know what I'm saying? But you could just, does it give you a better understanding now how to go on to your next audition if you have to, in terms of what you're going to do next?
Well, it's like kind of. I think I would harken back to the comment I made about rehearsing it this time, and how I like went in with the sledgehammer and I was unafraid. It's kind of like you, um, I always use this saying, you got to be louder than your fear, faster than your worry, moving at the speed of fun. When you gotta play, when you have to play so many different characters, you have to find the fun in it really fast. Um, and so I think what it's taught me is like you got to find it like you don't really have time to like let it develop it, figure it out. You're like you gotta make a choice, make a nuanced choice, really make a choice fast. Uh and and so that to me is exciting. And you know, as an actor, when you get some of these auditions, self-tape, sometimes you don't get a script. I mean, I think a number of films I booked now, I got the audition, never got the script until I got the job. And so the act of having to you know, think fast, sort of come up with a very come up with big bold choices, and not be afraid is something that I will take into everything I do. Uh, yeah, it's that simple. I'm going. You got to.
But in the meantime, obviously, you got this show on stage. Congratulations on the role.
Thank you.
Obviously, we're here to support Wilson Morales talking to Marchant Davis currently in Ain't No Mo. Go check it out.
And Marchant Davis has a children's book available for pre-order. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Indie Books, Walmart, Target, wherever books are sold.
There you go. Go check them out one way or the other. Take care.